Now, 2022 was a very busy year for me and a very great year for me car-wise. I didn't get to film a lot of it. I was very busy, had a lot of stuff going on. If you guys go back and watch my videos from the end of 2021, me and my wife had a new baby then. As you may know, until they get to be about one or so, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So didn't get to film everything I did in 2022. But a lot of action car-wise, a lot of good stuff. And today's video, I just want to go back through and recap that. And today in Kansas, it actually feels like January. It's been very warm here lately, but today is chilly, so probably going to finish most of this video in the car. But we'll at least get things rolling out here. So going back to the end of 2021, looking at the garage lineup, it was my X3 M Competition, my M2 Competition, and the Jeep Gladiator. So at the end of 21, I traded the Gladiator for a Jeep Grand Cherokee L for my wife, which she ended up hating, but we'll get to that later. At the end of 21, I also decided to order an M3 Competition, very close to this spec. The only difference was black interior and Dravit gray, but I'm very happy with what I ended up getting. I'll get to how that came about in a little bit. So I'd ordered this in December of 21, put down a deposit. Now at the time they didn't have an allocation, didn't have a good guess. Their best guess was 6 months. I thought that sounded optimistic, but they assured me that's how long it would take. So I went ahead and put down the deposit, got the order in. So fast forward to March of 2022, I got a call from my local Ford dealership that they had gotten a Raptor in that they had ordered and didn't have a buyer at the moment. I talked to them about ordering a Gen 2 Raptor way previously. So at the time I hadn't gotten any updates on my M3 Competition orders, so I was very interested in the Raptor. I went and looked at it and it was game over at that point. It was pretty awesome. You guys can go back and watch the videos. I did a handful of videos on the Gen 3 Raptor and it is an awesome truck. So I bought that truck in March. So fast forward 5 months to August. The dealership that I had placed the M3 order with, I canceled that order as soon as I bought the Raptor because I figured I want to hang on for that for a while. They still didn't have an allocation, so best guess was at that point still another 6 months. So then in August I got the call from that dealership, that same dealership, that somebody had ordered this particular M3. So when they put in the order, they have to do like a check for if whoever's putting in the order isn't on like a no sell us, like a export or something like that. So I guess when the order went in, they didn't actually do that check until the car was built and on the boat on the way over. So it was at that point they discovered they couldn't sell the car to whoever it was that placed the order. They gave me a call and asked if I was interested, and I said heck yeah. Now they were able to sell this car to me at MSRP, which I thought was a great deal because I know at the time I could have taken the car and resold it for well over sticker anywhere else. At the time, I was also able to get more than what I paid for my Raptor, so all around it ended up being a great deal. So I went ahead and jumped on it and haven't regretted it. I definitely haven't regretted it since. The M3's a great car, and definitely a dream come true for me to own this car. Okay guys, as you can see, I had to move the car because it's freezing out there. So we'll continue story time in here while I take a drive. It's a cold day out here, and those summer tires don't get a lot of grip when it's 30 degrees. So, but still with the X-Drive, this still does pretty well in cold weather. So back to story time. That pretty much covers everything for the M3. Now going back to something that I haven't covered a lot, or pretty much at all on the channel, is the story of how I got the X5 M Competition. So as I said, at the end of 21, I bought my wife the Grand Cherokee L. She liked it for a little while, but the longer we had it, I think the more we both kind of grew to dislike it. So it was built during COVID, and it was actually missing quite a few key features, and didn't really realize it when we were buying it, but kind of figured those things out later, and they got to be super annoying. Luckily the pre-owned market was still super hot at that time, so you could get out of cars without losing much. Maybe just take a little bit of a hit. So at the time, going back to, I want to say it was April, I ordered a X5 M50 for my wife. Now, we had gone back and forth on the X5 M50 or the X5M. At the time, she was not comfortable with just going for the X5M, with it being a lot more powerful, more kind of a track-focused car. She wanted something that was, just a little more comfortable. So we ordered that in April. I got the call from the dealership that it showed up in, I want to say it was the middle of June. And at that time I found out it was about a week before the car showed up. The salesperson I'd worked with to put in the order had left the dealership, a week or so before the car actually showed up. So I get there on delivery day, and they had an X5 M50 sitting out front. Looked nothing like the spec I had ordered, but the salesperson who was taking care of me, because the previous salesperson had left, came out very excited, and he's like, hey, do you like it? Did you see it out front there? And I was like, that's not what I ordered. And you could see just the sheer panic on his face, and I felt bad for the guy, because it wasn't his fault, and I wasn't going to take it out on him, but I definitely wasn't happy about the slip up. So the spec I ordered was all blacked out, black wheels, white seats, pretty much all the options, the Alcantara headliner, the cool starry effect in the panoramic sunroof. But this had basically none of that. I mean, the difference in MSRP was about 10 grand less than what the one I ordered was. So it turns out there was just a miscommunication in the order process. They got the wrong thing put in, which is fine. I understand accidents happen. They offered to make it right by letting me buy the one they ordered, have that for a couple of months, come back and sell it without losing anything. And in the meantime, they would order a new one, which was the exact spec I wanted. So we go through, we have this car for a couple months. It's still awesome, even though it wasn't what we ordered. The V8 in the M50 is pretty sweet. So, and then 2 months later, just as I said, the one I did order arrived that was to the spec that my wife had wanted, and we took delivery of it actually on her birthday. So timing worked out great. She was very happy with the car. It was an all-white interior, all blacked out, black wheels. Had pretty much all the options, totally specced out. Now this car was great, super fast, super comfy. But then a couple months later, I was just, as most car guys know, we're keeping an eye on local dealerships' websites and kind of seeing what they have in inventory, just to kind of see if there's anything interesting. And the dealership that I had ordered her X5 M50 from actually had 3 X5Ms on the lot, which is pretty rare. So I sent a picture of one of them to my wife, and she's like, hey, I really like this. Do you think we could see if we could work out a deal with them to trade mine? And at the time I was like, well, I thought she wanted kind of the more comfortable version. But then, she thought through it and is like, well, at the time I was scared of, the power of the X5M, the extra power, but her having that kind of middle ground one that made her a little more confident in that, I just wanted to give it a try. So I had her go in and meet with my salesperson there one day. She got to take an X5M for a test drive. Absolutely loved it. So the one I sent her in to see was missing a couple of packages that another one on the showroom had, that she ended up seeing that and liked it. It had the cooled cup holders, the massaging seats, just a few more options than the one I originally sent her in to see, but she liked that one. So she went and saw that, I believe it was on a Friday. I went back in the dealership on that next Monday to meet with my salesperson and kind of see if we could work out a deal. You know, it turns out whoever ordered this X5M that we ended up getting totally spec'd out, they had some issue and had to back out of the order, and ended up working out a deal where I could get it for basically for invoice price, and trade in the X5 M50 we just got without losing a ton of money on it. At the time, interest rates were starting to shoot up, trade-in values were starting to go down, and it was kind of, as I saw it, last opportunity to, if I wanted to get out of something and get into something that's a little bit of an upgrade, that was kind of the last chance probably to do it for a little while. Otherwise, I think if I'd waited another month or two, probably would have taken a much bigger hit. But yeah, basically that's how we ended up with the X5M. We've been loving that thing. We've got almost 4,000 miles on it. Like I said, we use that thing as a family vehicle. It's super fast, super fun to drive. So kind of just recapping all the stuff that's been happening behind the scenes, because I haven't got to cover a lot of it. Like I said, our youngest is getting a little bit older, so hopefully we'll have a little more time this year to cover things on the channel. As of right now, I don't have any plans for new vehicles or changing things up. I've just kind of started making videos on the M3 and the X5 M Competition, so the plan for this year, I would say, is keep the garage as is, and just keep making videos on covering the ownership experience of both of those. So definitely let me know if there's anything you guys are curious about, anything you'd like to see a video of me covering. And as I said, going from the year before to this past year, we started with an M2 competition, an X3 M competition, and we ended up upgrading to an an M3 competition and an X5 M competition. So I've owned quite a few BMWs. I've now owned 4 M vehicles. So if there's any just kind of ownership comparisons, driving comparisons, you guys are curious about, if you're kind of cross-shopping some of these cars, definitely let me know, and happy to do videos discussing the difference and kind of what my thoughts were after owning some of these cars. All right, well, that's kind of wrap things up for today's video. That kind of captures what have been going on in 2022. Just want to get everybody up to speed on kind of all the events going on behind the scenes. Like I said, 2022 was a great year. This year, hopefully getting a little more time to focus on the channel, and we'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on. I really hope 2023 is off to a wonderful start for all of you. As always, appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you in the next one.